All right, so we're diving deep into product vision today, not just the surface level stuff. We're talking about crafting a vision that's more than just a catchy tagline, but something that truly guides you towards building a product people love. We've got a great mix of sources for you, from Google PMs to marketplace experts, and even some insights from the AI world.
Yeah, it's fascinating how often companies with incredible resources miss the core why behind their product, and it ends up hurting them. That strong vision rooted in a compelling why can really be the driving force for organic growth, like we see with Wise.
Okay, so let's unpack this why thing a bit more. We've got the cautionary tale of Google plus Breezer, lots of resources, smart people. But it didn't quite take off.
Yeah, the issue with Google Plus wasn't a lack of talent or resources, it was the absence of a clearly defined user need they were solving. Think about it. What problem was Google Plus really solving for people? Contrast that with Wise, the international money transfer service. Their why is crystal clear. Make international payments easy and affordable.
And it seems like people really resonated with that.
Mm.
They're experiencing 70% growth just from word of mouth, which is incredible. People are actually recommending the product because it solves a real need for them.
Exactly. It demonstrates the power of a strong product vision, especially one that's deeply connected to a user need. That kind of authenticity is what attracts people and makes them want to share it with others.
So you've got a compelling why. You understand the user needs. What's next? Do you try to build the perfect product right out of the gate?
Not necessarily, especially early on. Trying to achieve perfect balance across all aspects of your product can actually hinder you.
Interesting. So maybe focusing on everything at once isn't the best approach.
Right. A good example of this is Thumbtack, the home services marketplace. They initially focused on just one side of the equation, cracking the demand side. They even used Craigslist to bootstrap in the beginning, once they had a solid user base who wanted those home services. Then they focused on building out their supply side of qualified professionals.
It's kind of like they built one half of the bridge first, then focused on the other half once they knew people were lining up to cross it.
That's a great way to put it, and it highlights the importance of prioritizing by focusing on the hardest part first, the demand side in this case. Thumbtack was able to build momentum and get that flywheel spinning.
This makes a lot of sense. But building a product can be pretty stressful, right? There are unexpected issues, delays, that constant feeling of putting out fires. How does a product leader navigate that pressure and maintain a sense of calm amidst the chaos?
This is where understanding the concept of state over story becomes really important.
Okay, let's break that down a bit. What exactly do we mean by state in this context?
Your state refers to your emotional state, your energy level, the vibe you're giving off. It's about recognizing that your internal state has a ripple effect on your team. Johnny Miller, a breathwork expert, emphasizes how crucial it is to project calmness and confidence, even when things might be chaotic behind the scenes.
So even when you're dealing with a crisis internally, maintaining that sense of calm leadership becomes crucial.
Absolutely. Think of it like being the pilot of a plane, even if warning lights are going off in the cockpit. You don't want to alarm the passengers. You project calm and focus on solutions. And that composure instills confidence in everyone around you. The same applies to leading a product team.
Your team is looking to you for guidance, and your demeanor can have a significant impact on their morale and performance.
Exactly. By managing your own reactions and projecting a positive state, you create a more productive and focused environment for everyone. It's about acknowledging that your state influences the team's state.
All right, we've got a clear why. We're strategically focusing on one side of the market to gain traction, and we're projecting a sense of calm amidst the inevitable chaos. Now let's talk about the actual product itself. I know it goes beyond just cool features, right?
Features are definitely important, but you also need to consider the feelings your product evokes in your users. It's about going beyond just functionality and tapping into the emotional aspect of the user experience.
So how a product makes someone feel is just as important as what it allows them to do.
Precisely. We're talking about creating a positive emotional connection with users, not just delivering a set of features. Think back to a time when a company rolled out a feature that felt like a blatant money grab, even if it had some technical justification.
I've definitely experienced that. It can leave a bad taste in your mouth, even if the feature itself isn't inherently bad. Perception really matters.
It absolutely does. And this ties back to the idea of building products that bring joy to users. How can you make people feel good while using your product? It's not just about practicality, it's about creating a positive and engaging experience.
And those positive feelings are what drive word of mouth and create loyal customers, just like we saw with Wise.
Exactly. When people genuinely enjoy using your product, they become advocates. They naturally recommend it to others because it's something that brings them value and, dare I say, even a little joy.
Okay, so we're focusing on both functionality and feelings.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, are there any sort of secret weapons or unfair advantages that successful product leaders use to build great products and teams?
That's a great question. It reminds me of a fantastic interview question that Noah Weiss, the CPO of Slack, uses. What unfair secrets have you learned to improve a team's velocity and energy?
That's a thought-provoking question. It encourages you to look beyond the obvious and consider those subtle, often counterintuitive strategies that can make a real difference.
Exactly. It's about paying attention to those little things that might not be obvious at first glance, but have a significant impact on how a team functions and ultimately on the success of the product. It's about turning those personal observations into actionable strategies.
So it's about constantly learning, observing, and experimenting to find those unique approaches that give you an edge. But what about the bigger picture? Especially with the rapid advancements we're seeing in technology, particularly in AI, is it all about chasing the next big thing and trying to predict the future?
It's certainly tempting to get swept up in the hype cycle, but Aman Khan, a prominent product leader in the AI space, talks about the power of wandering versus waiting.
Wandering. I'm intrigued. Tell me more about what that means in this context.
Think about it. In a world obsessed with the next big thing, it's easy to fall into the trap of waiting for someone else to figure it out. But true vision often comes from exploring, from venturing into the unknown, even if it feels messy or uncertain. Remember, the LinkedIn feed that we all know today started as a small, experimental side project.
So it's about embracing curiosity and experimentation, rather than passively waiting for the perfect solution or technology to appear.
Exactly. Sometimes the most groundbreaking innovations come from those unexpected detours and explorations.
This brings to mind another important aspect of product development: giving and receiving feedback. It's got to be honest and direct, right? Like the whole radical candor concept.
Radical candor is a valuable framework, but Kim Scott, the author who coined the term, makes a crucial point. Avoid claiming truth when giving feedback. Your feedback is your perspective, offered with humility, not a declaration of absolute fact.
Because what you perceive as truth might be influenced by your own biases and experiences.
Precisely. It's about acknowledging that you might be wrong and being open to hearing other viewpoints. And remember, effective feedback is a two-way street. It's not just about delivering criticism. It's about active listening, understanding, and fostering open dialogue.
So it's about being assertive in sharing your perspective, but also being respectful, recognizing that feedback is a collaborative process.
Yes, and don't underestimate the power of praise. Offering genuine and specific praise is just as crucial as constructive criticism. It guides people in the right direction by highlighting what they're doing well and what could be improved.
We've covered a lot of ground already. The why. Focusing on one side of the market. Projecting a calm state. Considering user feelings. Seeking those unfair advantages. The power of wandering. And giving feedback with humility. What else is critical when it comes to building a truly great product? What separates the exceptional from the average?
That's a great question, and it brings us to a fundamental element: execution. It's one thing to have a brilliant vision, but it's another to actually bring it to life. We'll dive into that more after a quick break.
Sounds good. We'll be right back after this short break.
Welcome back. We were just discussing the crucial role of execution in bringing a product vision to life. It's not enough to just have a great idea. You need to be able to translate that vision into a tangible reality.
So it's about more than just talking the talk. You've got to walk the walk. What are some key elements of effective execution in the context of product development?
Execution is all about making those critical decisions, prioritizing effectively, and ultimately shipping a high-quality product that aligns with your vision. It can be incredibly challenging, especially in such a fast-paced environment where the tech landscape is constantly shifting.
Right, because you're dealing with limited resources,
Yeah,
changing priorities, unexpected roadblocks. It's a lot to manage.
exactly. And that's why having a strong team is absolutely essential. You need a group of people who are not only skilled in their respective areas, but also passionate about the vision and able to collaborate effectively to make it happen.
Because even the most brilliant vision in the world is meaningless without a team that can execute it. It's like having a blueprint for a masterpiece, but no skilled artisans to actually build it.
That's a perfect analogy. The team is the engine that drives the entire product development process.
So how do you go about building that dream team? Is it simply about hiring the most talented individuals you can find?
While talent is certainly important, it's not the only factor. You need people who are genuinely aligned with your vision, who share your values, and who are willing to go that extra mile to bring it to fruition. It's about more than just ticking off boxes on a resume. It's about finding individuals who are truly passionate about what you're building.
It sounds like you're talking about a certain cultural fit, a shared sense of purpose that binds the team together.
Absolutely. That shared passion is infectious, and it makes a huge difference in the energy, dedication, and resilience of the team. When everyone is truly invested in the vision, it's amazing what they can accomplish.
Speaking of resilience, building a product is rarely a smooth journey. There are going to be setbacks, unexpected challenges, and moments where you might feel like throwing in the towel. How do you stay motivated and focused during those inevitable tough times?
That's where resilience comes in. It's about having that mental fortitude to bounce back from setbacks, to learn from failures, and to keep moving forward even when the going gets tough. It's about having that grit factor that allows you to persevere.
So it's about more than just having a positive attitude. It's about having that deep down determination to see things through, even when faced with obstacles.
Exactly. And resilience is something you can cultivate, both within yourself and within your team. It's about developing a mindset that views challenges as opportunities for growth, surrounding yourself with supportive people, and learning from every experience, whether it's a success or a failure. Because building a great product is a marathon, not a sprint, and you need that inner strength to keep going.
Right? It's about remembering that those setbacks were often temporary, and what matters is how you respond to them. So how do you maintain that sense of perspective and stay focused on the bigger picture when you're in the weeds dealing with the day-to-day challenges?
It's about consciously reminding yourself of your why, your vision, and the impact you're striving to create. And it's important to celebrate those small wins along the way. Acknowledging those milestones, no matter how small, can be a huge boost to morale and motivation.
Those little victories can be so powerful in keeping the momentum going, reminding you that you're making progress.
Absolutely. And fostering a positive and supportive team culture where everyone feels valued and appreciated is crucial for maintaining that collective sense of resilience.
We've explored a lot of valuable insights, the importance of a strong why, the need for deep user empathy, the art of storytelling, the critical role of execution, and the importance of building a resilient and passionate team. Is there anything else we need to cover to round out our understanding of how to build a truly exceptional product?
There is one more crucial element, adaptability. We'll get into that after a quick break.
Welcome back. We've covered a lot of ground exploring the core elements of building a great product, one that not only meets a need, but also thrives in an ever-changing landscape.
And it's amazing how much of this comes back to the human side of things, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's easy to get lost in the technical details,
Right.
the features, the metrics. But at the end of the day, it's people who build products,
Yeah.
people who use them, and ultimately people who determine their success or failure. It really highlights that human connection at every stage. Which brings me to something that's been on my mind. We've talked about how essential a strong product vision is. But how do you keep that vision relevant over time? The world's not static. Your product evolves. User needs shift. How do you make sure your vision stays aligned with all that?
That's where continuous reassessment becomes so vital. You don't just set a vision and walk away. You need to revisit it regularly, challenge your assumptions, and be open to adapting as you gain new insights.
So it's like checking in with your vision, making sure it's still pointing you in the right direction, and making course corrections as needed.
Precisely. Think of it like navigating a ship. You have a destination in mind, but you need to constantly adjust your course based on the winds, the currents, maybe even uncharted obstacles that pop up along the way.
I love that analogy. It makes the concept so much clearer. But how often should you be going through this reassessment process? Is there an ideal time frame?
There's no one-size-fits-all answer. It really depends on the nature of your product, how quickly your industry is evolving, and the feedback you're getting from users.
So it's more about being attuned to both internal and external signals and being responsive to what you're observing.
Exactly. It's about staying agile and recognizing that your product vision isn't a static document. It should evolve as your understanding of the market and your users deepens.
This reminds me of the lean startup approach, constantly testing assumptions, learning from feedback, and iterating rapidly.
It's very much aligned with that philosophy. You don't have all the answers up front. You need to be comfortable experimenting, learning, and adjusting as you go.
It sounds like continuous reassessment is really about embracing that ongoing process of learning and evolution.
It absolutely is. Building a successful product is a journey, not a destination. And that journey requires you to adapt and refine your vision along the way.
We've unpacked so many valuable concepts today. The power of the why, the importance of user empathy, the art of storytelling, effective execution, building a resilient team, and now this idea of continuous reassessment. As we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key takeaway you hope our listener walks away with?
I think the most important thing to remember is that building a great product is about solving real human needs in a meaningful and sustainable way. It's about connecting with your users on an emotional level, inspiring your team with a shared vision, and being adaptable in the face of constant change.
It's about never losing sight of that human element, both in the product itself and in the process of building it.
Exactly. That's where the true magic happens.
This has been an incredible conversation. Thank you so much for joining us on the deep dive. And to you, our listener, thanks for diving in with us. We hope this has sparked some new ideas and given you a fresh perspective on building truly exceptional products. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep building.